Hello everybody, this is Derek and it is the 12th of February and I received an interesting video response this morning to an older video that I did over a half a year ago regarding minimum wage throughout the years, and I'm going to put a link to the video response in the more information box. This way you can watch that video first and then come back to this video here. Now, in the original video that I made over a half a year ago, I wanted to explain why inflation is pretty much out of control, but to that matter, how our pay rates have not went up with the same rate that inflation has, and thus it's made it more difficult for people to be able to get necessity items, and thus has made the poor getting poorer. I was mentioning back in the 1940s, 50s, 60s, and 70s how we pretty much had minimum wage between around $18 and $27 per hour. Heck, back in the 1950s and 60s and 70s, you could easily have so many children. You could have the wife looking after the children. It could be 6, 7, 8, 9 children, and the husband was able to go to work on a 40, 50-hour job and be able to put food on the table for everybody and still have a little bit of extra money to have a little bit of luxury along the way. Today that is not the case, and that's because we have lost well over 70% along the way, as unemployment in the 1970s got over $25 per hour using today's money standards. And now we're at a point where people are suffering. We have more people getting foreclosed upon, and well, even the money that you make just doesn't do it. And one of the things that was common in the response is that working these terrible paying jobs is better than nothing. Really, I actually have to disagree on that point. Nonetheless, I was dubbed an idiot for stating that if we had minimum wage at $15 an hour, that, well, gosh doggone it, we would have an economic collapse. And I'm going to quote something that you said: if we double minimum wage, we would be bankrupt as a nation. And like I said, this original video was not to state that minimum wage should now be $15 an hour, just that if it's not at that level, we are going to have an economic collapse. But let's get serious here. You mean you said that if we had this minimum wage, we would destroy the economy? It's already destroyed. It is guaranteed to be destroyed, because you were mentioning that we would be totally bankrupt if we had the unemployment the minimum wage at these grander levels. Well, that would be the reaction from that action, because every action causes a reaction. So what's the reaction from having all of these home mortgage loans, all of these credit card loans, student loans, any type of loan that we have, which is thus have interest charged and interest on top of interest, and we have multi-billions of dollars going into debt? Does that not guarantee bankruptcy? For a lot of these mainstream people, or these economic people that you're talking about or hearing from, they all want to cause or create solutions from the symptom and not the disease. And that's why they do everything within their power. It's all going to inevitably fail upon them unless they can get to the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is the monetary system itself. We are slaves to debt. We are slaves to this entire system. And heck, everyone talks, or a lot of people talk about how it's such a bad thing if we have a higher unemployment rate. Where in reality, a higher unemployment rate that would get us to 20, 30, 40, upwards to 90% would actually free us from this slave labor situation that we have. Right now we have a huge problem because of the monetary system, where technology is growing at such massive rates that the monetary system doesn't allow us to put an excessive amount of robots and technology to do our work, because that means none of us would have a job and none of us would be able to consume the products. And that's why when I do these videos, I'm on here to explain why this situation for economic collapse is guaranteed. There is nothing that can be done to stop this from happening until they can get to the root of the problem. They have not even came close to doing this as of yet. But debt guarantees the economic collapse system that we're in. We're now in an age where we are able to make the changes that we are needed to get away from this slave communistic world that we are living in. And it is a slave world. It is communist. It is communism. It is not a democracy. And you know what? That's pretty much all I got to say about that. Thanks for the video response. I don't get too many. Usually it's tags of different videos that are within the subject and such, and they're great, but I don't get too many video responses. Thanks for the response, and it's interesting how you get dubbed an idiot from 1 or 2 or 3 videos. The collapse, guys. She's a guarantee. What can I say? Take care, everybody.